We now rise up to the astral body. And this is quite wonderful. And this is a little bit like how Steiner weaves in the Eightfold Path of the Buddha or the yogas or the Ten Commandments. Because the astral body, remember, it is our becoming of age, becoming our selfness. And the key words are power and nobility. So what your moral courage is this lifetime, being a warrior of the light, being for divine justice. Remember, not when you're 60, but when you're 20s. How much do you want to save and serve? This is the time where we save and serve. And how much are you willing? This was always a question that we ask when we do the shamanic in the south of France, if you know about the Qatar. In the Pyrenees, they were the light workers in 900 who were persecuted by the Catholic Church, and they were all burned to death or starved to death. They had to choose the light, or they had to choose switching to Catholicism. And the question that we always ask is, are you willing to die for the cause? Fabian always had a trick answer. I would always find a way out so I don't have to die. But the rest of us were struggling with, are we going to die as a Cathar at the stake? And he'd go, why? Then you're dead. Find an escape route so you can do better good. I'm like, yeah, but then there's no game. You can't make it so simple, Fabian. Because everybody except you is going to find, nobody can find an escape route except you. But that's Fabian. So the rest of us have to look back in our 20s. How much were we willing to stand up for someone else? Stand up for what is right and wrong? How big is your moral compass? Where you're willing to have nobody like you because you are in your truth. And the more ostracized you were and the more difficult it was at this age, probably you're doing really well, scoring points for the other side. Because if you're a harmonizer, a pleaser, wanting everything neutral, how much are you really speaking what is right and wrong? You're not. You're placating, and that's a cop-out. It's not a cop-out, but if you're playing the game that you need points on the other side to help pull you out of the astral, the social, emotional level of consciousness, then truth has to be more important than friends, than family, than loved ones. I'm sorry, I love you, you're my girlfriend, but I gotta go because it's not my truth here. You don't walk my walk. So in the 20s, we're jumping from bed to bed, from person to person. We're trying to figure out who we are, being mirrored by others. And eventually, what is supposed to happen at this phase is you go, oh, this is me. That's not me. But how do you know what is not you? You try. You try everything. And you go, oh, you know what? That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. And by a process of elimination, you end up with who you are. Unless you're someone, in my instance, I knew who I was and I just plowed. But that's my temperament. That's my destiny. There's those that don't know and those that do, and they just are annoying to everyone around you, and we cause nothing but trouble through our life because we're standing up for our truth. But in the end, you become a master. So think about it. How much honor, how much nobility, how much moral courage and strength did you have? This life is going to determine whether you can rise up to the next level on the other side. So let's talk about those souls that don't make it past here. The ones with no morality, no love in their heart, no compassion, no sense of right and wrong. They want to lie, cheat, steal. Notice they break all the 10 commandments. You know, that's why Moses has the do not lie, do not cheat, do not steal, in order to help you to get past this phase. But let's just say, no, you won't have anything to do with that. You're just, everything is for you, let's say. So there's no morality, no ethics. So you land in the astral body on the other side, the land of emotion, and everything around you is going to get you. And you never get out of that, because you never got out of it this life, and then you fade away. The soul dies. Benza and I have been having discussions. Does the soul die? How can the soul die if the soul is God? And the answer from the guide is super simple. It's not God. God is God. The soul is the child of God. And what I said the other day, God gives free will to the children. And just like any family, some go good and some go bad. God is hoping that through all of the children, there will be more light generated, because there's more light out there with children than just God by God's self. That's the idea. So they are all sparking light, creating light. So exponentially there is more light than if it were just God all alone. That's the concept. But each soul has the free choice to lose the light. And then on the other side, they go dim, and the hierarchies, the invisible beings don't rise them up. This is just physics. Physics is density sinks, light rises up. So it's mathematics on the other side. It's not whether you're good or bad, it's just truth. Density, you want to be dense? You're going to sink like a lead balloon. If you want to rise up. So if there are moments in your life where you hid because you were afraid to speak truth, you've got some homework to do. You got to go back and clean up, even though you're in your 60s and you're supposed to be a master. You've got to make sure you tick off all the boxes if you want to be illuminated. That means, and this is really important, when you are in conflict, it is not the point to change the other person. That's not why we speak truth. We have no power over the other person. But the invisible world is listening. He's here now. And when we speak truth, God is our witness, our guides are our witness, and it's an imprint of light. This is so important for those of us that feel in conflict. I have gone through massive periods of my life in conflict because I'm a leader. Leaders inherently are going to be in conflict. And what freed me was I can't change the other, but I can speak my truth, and I know that God is listening. And I know that I have activated light in myself and in my source by speaking truth. And that is good. And that is God. Very important, because we all have human tuk. And when you're in that place of stillness and silence, you can hear the answer. You did good. That's good. From the guides and from God. And from you, you know. You resonate with it, but you have to, it's like Tama-Do sound harmonization, talk. And then you hear the affirmation in the invisible. That's a practice that is so important because you need to know when you're doing good. A big piece of being in your 50s is being able to actually celebrate the light of who you are, which is the celebration of Lugnasad. I did good. This last year, I did good. I am godly. I am filled with goodness. It's being able to hear the resonance of the goodness that you spoke truth, whether the monster that you created in your movie heard or not. It's not important. It's not important that you change another person. You cannot. Trust me, I tried. You cannot. That is the fundamental rule as a Tama-Do practitioner. You cannot heal or change anybody else. You are only responsible for yourself. So you're working on your nobility for the very purpose, and nobility can be how you stand up straight, how you wash yourself, how you keep yourself honorably clean. Noble heroes have clean socks. And good God, they take showers. That's where you get into all the mothers are laughing. That's where you get into the Hindu yogas, is that they're talking about right posture, right breathing, right, and all of that is to be pure in thought, mind, body, to be pure in your aura. So in our 20s, yes, we should be building all of the yogas that are so important in managing human relation, moral conduct, nonviolence, truth and honesty, etc., etc. Inner discipline, purity, body, aura, energy field, cleanliness of your sacred space as a temple, harmony, discipline, alignment, study of sacred texts, asana, central axis, soul path, nobility. So practicing your soul path, knowing your soul path, pranayama, rhythm of breath. I'm reading mine, not Patanjali's, where you are contacting the starlight and fairies, qigong, connection. Not deprivation of senses on number 5, but using the 5 senses. All of these things we must be working on in our 20s. And if we didn't, we got to be picking it up now and carrying it forward. Prayer and meditation, and then samadhi, unity with God, absolute bliss. How many times have you experienced bliss in your life? Write it down. Put it on the wall. 1, 2, 3. Count them instead of counting the trauma drama or the worry. So then we go up to the mental body, our 30s. Spiritual awakening. Links to the heart chakra, of course. So if you haven't cleaned up the solar plexus, what we know in Tama-Do is the lower astral, which is the plexus, dantian, and root, rise up to the heart chakra. And we want love from an astral point of view. And this is where the golden rule gets so convoluted. I'm going to give love to you. I'm going to take you out to dinner, so you're going to be nice to me. You're going to love me because I'm loving you. I'm going to pour all my love onto you. And then you find out you have no more money and you are pissed off. That's a good thing. It's not swamp, but how do you know you're off track with someone? Are you angry with them? You're trying too hard. So if you find yourself frustrated, move on. You're only 30. Move on. Next. Don't wait until you're 50 to then be really frustrated. The 30s, the choices you make in your 30s are going to reverberate in your 50s. If you choose the wrong person, you're going to do something about it in your 40s and 50s. You ping pong. 20s, go to 40s. 40s, go to 60s. You jump. 30s, 50s, 70s. So how'd you do? How'd you do on your trajectory? How much spiritual awakening did you allow yourself, or were you too busy trying to grab somebody to make them yours? Your boyfriend, your husband, your father of the child, your provider. So the spiritual awakening, the key words that you want to be looking for is light memories, beauty and harmony, creativity. So this is the time where you should be doing senseless acts of beauty, art, writing, poetry, divine love, making love with the universe, being naked all by yourself, running around in starlight. What are you doing with your soul, with yourself in your 30s to connect with the godliness that is the creative spark? This is the time of sparkle and effervescence and phosphorescence and going to the light. And the more memory you have of using your 5 senses, of being in the 5 elements, that's going to help you to have the memory of the divine light on earth that is going to give you illumination, gratitude, and joy, and help you to rise up to the soul consciousness on the other side. Okay, you've got your moral courage and you go to the mental body on the other side. If you have the memory of divine light on earth, which you have experienced in your 30s in spiritual awakening, you achieve illumination, gratitude, joy. It's like starlight that takes you up to your soul consciousness, to the causal body. The mental body, remember, it's not the brain. It's hooking into the supramental, to the band that you belong in, the egregore. Whether it's a religion, whether it's a jazz band or a rock and roll band, there are bands of consciousness that are truthful. They are up there in the sky like dense. Now we know this new term. What is it in California? We have these rivers of rain. these cosmic rivers that are like go from Africa to California. It's crazy. And then we're in rain for 4 weeks. But that cosmic band of rain, there are cosmic bands of consciousness. So when you have deja vu, when you pray, when you receive, when you channel, you are channeling from a wavelength that humanity before you has put up there. The consciousness of those that have come before that resonate with your paradigm. It's big, juicy, and full, and that's where we receive a lot of our information mentally, consciously. But I don't want to get caught in the mental because I think it's a trap. Steiner puts planets with each of these consciousnesses. I'm not going to go into I'm not going to give you all of them because then we're like super mental. But it is wonderful that at the mental body, he gives you Venus, the goddess of beauty and harmony and love, which is so beautiful. It's Netzach in the Sephirotic tree, for those of you that have done that work with me, so that we are expanding and expressing godliness through creativity. So you were doing the pop stuff in your 20s, but in the 30s, it's like, that's not right. You are looking for a way to now, in your 30s, you should have been, and if you didn't, you got to time travel back and fix that. To express beauty and harmony through creativity. Not the beauty and harmony of making everybody happy. Not the beauty of making somebody look beautiful. Fair enough, but then you're relying on having a person in order for you to express beauty and harmony. There is another form of creation. Creativity is you with you. You with your color pencils. You with your paints. Because think of it this way, because I know you said that your beauty is the tapestry of the people. There's no silence there because there's another person. So you're working with a tapestry that is not silent. Therefore, you have to project yourself onto them to help to shape them and change them, which we all have done and we all do. I encourage you, as you progress slowly up to my age, that you might want to consider, it's a proposal, that you go into a place of emptiness, you with you, and from that, you will be guided to create art. Poetry, writing, music, dance, painting, something that does not require the chaos of another human being. Because then it's you with you, and you are looking in the mirror of your own soul. And we get trapped with the busyness of helping others. I know, because I've gone through all the stages. I know I understand. I'm just encouraging you that there's better gratitude, better joy, awakening of divine light, you with you. And if you don't believe me, you got to believe my mother, who always said, nobody finds their soul in a group. You can only find it alone. So paint it, express it, activate it alone. And that's going to do a wonderful healing. Food for thought. You are practicing starlight, shimmer, explosion, unknown. It's Altair, unknown. Turquoise, jump into the unknown. Because true art comes from inspiration. Inspiration that is outside of ourself, that we channel from the light. And so to have that happen, we have to have built our place of emptiness. Look, it's so funny. If I speak like this, and I'm saying right, sparkle, light, beauty, joy, awakening, gratitude, all these words, and I look at the Buddhist Eightfold Path, right ideal, right motive, right speech, right action, right means of livelihood. Isn't that funny? Because I love the Eightfold Path. I follow it. But this is why the guide said, it's just bullshit, because this has nothing to do with light. It just has to do with being right. Right, right, right. Even the Samadhi, right realization. We are going to do bliss rightly. We're going to get it right. Yep, we're good. We got it. Can't have a little humor in there because it's not right. It's not on the list. Oh my God, you guys are so serious. See, the beauty of it is I am told to transmit this, and I am. And that's all that my goal is, whether you believe it or not. That's your problem. If you're going to be a master, you have to be able to be a master all alone in a closet. And nobody's there except all the entourage. And they're like, yeah. And because, being an artist, those of us that are artists, we're dead in the water if we care what the audience thinks. We're dead on arrival. I know that from acting or dancing or singing or, she does a painting. Do you like it? If you say that, if you care, you're dead, you're finished. But you care terribly about the painting in the invisible. You care so much, which is why I'm going to surprise you with a word that I am learning. Devotion. Love is devotion. So in your 30s, instead of being devoted to another person, you're devoted, to God. That's far away. Sometimes you don't know what that means. But if you have the gift of a guide who you know and who resonates with you, or an angel, or some being of light who is there by your side, there is an eternal devotion to, I would say, to make love with this light. I don't want to say serve. We are not subservient. We are Dian Fa Series 2. Give and take, which is devotional. I love. And the love comes back. I don't love so they will love. I love because I am love. I am in my spiritual awakening, and the dojo of the 30s is I receive love. I am love. I am a channel of love. I radiate love. And if you're lucky enough to know your guide, yes, I give my love to my guide who is inside of me. I give my love to the source, that the source shines down and gives love to me. And there's no more love bargaining, which if we're in our heart chakra, but really in our lower astral, I'm gonna love you so you love me. That's love bargaining. Oh, you don't love me, so I'm gonna take my love away from you. This is new territory that is, I think, fundamentally important in this I hate that word, mental, subtle body, in the spiritual awakening time, so that we can rise up to soul consciousness if we are on the other side. And this act of receiving. None of Westerners know how to receive because we're so busy doing. We're so busy grabbing towards something, going toward, instead of giving thanks and letting it in. Now, I'm not saying just be a Buddha sitting in a rock and do nothing. I'm saying do your practice, clear the way, be conscious, do everything actively to be able to prepare the vessel to receive. And then get it right, receive it, demand it. Yogananda is the one that's always saying, demand of your guide, demand of your God, and keep demanding, keep at it. Those of you that are Shaoyang, I warn you, you will be frustrated. And you go, oh, I don't believe. I thought I believed in guides for last week, but no. He didn't show up, so I don't believe. Devotion is believing. It's faith. Faith comes into the spiritual awakening. And just think about it, all of us that are way past our 30s, the 30s have to be fraught with turbulence to find the light. It's required, because if there's any age where you're on your noble hero's walkabout, your excellent adventure, it's in your 30s, because you're going all over the place. It's a marvelous time. 20s I can do without. 30s, marvelous. But you get trapped. You get trapped in the physical material. And then you'll start having physical body parts break apart in your 50s. Because the physical material has to let go. Physics.